Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this session, Networking Never Stops, Strategies for Building Your Social Capital as a New Professional. This is part two of a three-part virtual series that we're gearing towards our early career Niners and our soon-to-be graduates. And my name is Lori Brazili. I am the Assistant Director for Career Connections at the Career Center here. In my role, I get to manage the Career Treks program for the Career Center. And then I also get to serve as the alumni engagement liaison for the Career Center. And in my role as alumni engagement liaison, I have the pleasure of helping to connect alumni to career services that they may need. And then I also get to help them get connected to our office if they are trying to give back through volunteer opportunities. And I also sit on the career coaching side. I work with our technology, data, and analytics career community as a career coach. So I'm thrilled for you all to be here today. So let's go ahead and get started. So, before we get into why we're here today, it is important that we acknowledge our career skills development. And so, these are important skills, these 8 skills that you see here on the screen. These are so important that we want you to make sure that you are focusing your career success after graduation by having competencies and knowledge and behaviors in these areas. These 8 areas are the important skills that are professional association in career services and recruiting believes in. So, the National Association of Colleges and Employers has defined these 8 skills. And so, we are going to be focusing on communication and career and self development as we kind of talk through networking as an early career professional. So, before we get to the goals today, I do want to first take a moment and acknowledge that networking is not always comfortable and it can feel intimidating and awkward and unclear, especially when you're early on in your career. So I definitely get that. The purpose of today is really to help you feel like networking is a little bit more human, it's a little bit more doable, and to help you feel that you can do it and that it's aligned with who you are. And so our Charlotte community, especially our alumni community, is really a powerful resource, especially when it can be tapped into in an authentic way. So we're going to talk through some ideas for how networking evolves after graduation and why it still matters. I want us to take some time to reframe what networking actually is and what it isn't, to go over some outreach strategies and habits for maintaining relationships over time. And then also, we're going to discuss and explore ways to leverage resources and tools to connect you with our Charlotte alumni network. So, my goal for you today really is for you to be able to leave with maybe 1 or 2 small actions that you can take that can help you move the needle closer to where you want to go. So, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so why networking still matters? Well, networking doesn't stop when you cross the graduation stage. So it simply just kind of changes shape. And so in school networking can often happen very naturally if you think about the connections that you're making in your classes with your faculty, with your peers, with students, people that you're, maybe rooming with on or off campus, the people that you're meeting at events, if you're involved in clubs or student orgs. It's kind of a natural process of making those connections. And so after graduation, it can be a little bit more difficult to connect and to network because, your community is changing shape a little bit. And so your early career is really a time of rapid growth. And the reason why is because people are switching jobs, they're moving to different cities, they're exploring new industries, and there really is a lot of movement that's going on in this part of your life. And so these transitions, though, are going to give you opportunities to create natural openings for connection. And so a strong network isn't necessarily just about job opportunities, it's really more about making connections that ideally would lead to mentorship, to sponsorship, and to long-term career resilience. And so it's all about really having people in your corner. And so I want to kind of frame this networking conversation as what that looks like once you get into your first time role as a new career professional. And so, what is networking and what isn't networking? So, let's reframe this just a little bit. Networking is really all about connection. I like to say that networking is about making professional friends. So, it's not about just collecting a bunch of LinkedIn contacts, even though that certainly can be part of your process. And it's not about being extroverted or selling yourself. So, actually, think that some of the best networkers or some of the best people that I've ever connected with are kind of self-proclaimed introverts. And it's definitely not transactional. And a lot of times we see networking as just kind of a one-time thing. So these are some of the common stereotypes that you think of, but you want to maybe approach it in more of a genuine and intentional process. And so it really is about being curious. It's about relationship building. It's about building something long term. So when you think about putting an effort into any of your other relationships, personal, whether that's with a significant other or with a family member or with a friend, that's something that, grows over time and that you both have to put in the effort in order to kind of make that come to be fruitful. And so I want you to think of it as a mutual beneficial experience where both of you are bringing value, even if that value looks different, especially if you might be connecting with somebody that you admire, somebody that has years of experience, where maybe you're just starting out, you both still can bring value to that relationship. It's just going to look a little bit different. So just think of it as somebody that can be in your corner to support you, somebody that you can also be a support system to. So again, you don't have to be the loudest in the room or the most outgoing person in the room in order to network effectively, or again, just thinking of it as connecting with people. And so you just really need to be intentional and genuine. And I want you to think quality over quantity. So when it comes to building those network relationships. So these are the different types of networks that we're going to talk about. Your network really should be diverse and multi-layered. Operational networks, those are the people that you work with. Okay, so if you think about where you currently are right now, if you have a part-time job or maybe you're an intern or whatever that looks like, the people that you kind of operate with on a daily basis, these are the people that help you get things done. Okay. And then your personal network, these are the people that are going to be there to support you both emotionally and socially. These are people that are your friends, your family, your peers, people that you're in class with. That's kind of your personal network. And then you have your strategic network. So these are people that can help you grow into your next chapter. So that might be personal mentors or professional mentors, potential leaders, people that you see as a connector. So you really do need all three in order to be successful, but you don't necessarily need to have a large, expansive network. A smaller, diverse network that's intentional is always going to be more impactful than like a large, shallow network. So again, kind of emphasizing the quality of your connections versus the quantity of your connections. So, congratulations, you've landed your first new grad role at an organization, and reaching out inside of the new organization is going to be one of the most important and often underrated networking moves that you can make as a new professional. It's also the one that I would leverage the most. I would leverage being that new person as long as you can, because again, people are going to be open to people that are new to the organization that have questions, and they naturally want to kind of help you. And so again, this is just an easy place for you to start, because when you're connecting with people at your organization, you already have that built-in common ground. The fact that you work at the same organization, you're working towards the same mission. And so you have kind of a built-in reason to connect. So that's what I want you to kind of think through. So why does internal networking matter? So again, thinking through once you start that first job. So internal networks help you, they help shape your visibility, because then people get to know who you are and what you do. Okay, so you're becoming visible to different people in the organization by simply putting yourself out there and looking for opportunities to connect with people. It also can help shape possible future opportunities. So that could include maybe future projects that you get put on, stretch assignments, access to people that potentially could turn into a mentor or a sponsor. So again, it's giving you an opportunity to meet people, for them to get to know who you are, and vice versa. That could turn into a future opportunity. It also gives you support. So these are people that can help you navigate the workplace culture and politics, especially if you are connecting with people that maybe have a lot of longevity at the organization. Maybe they've been in a couple of different roles within the company, and they can see how things have maybe shifted and how the organizational structure really shapes the culture of the organization, and that can help you with navigating it a little bit more effectively. And then obviously your longevity, and so a lot of times your reputation is going to be sometimes more important than your resume. So your reputation at the organization may actually grow faster than your resume, so to speak, because it may be, a couple of years before you move into a new role within the company, versus your reputation is something that can grow right away. So don't feel like you have to, prove yourself to start networking. I think putting yourself out there, making things happen, taking that initiative, those are things that are really important. And again, people are going to want to pour into that. As somebody that's new to the organization, as somebody that's kind of early on in their career, most people love to talk about themselves. They love to give advice and those sorts of things. So you're going to basically get access to information. You're going to find advocates. You're going to find allies by kind of considering this approach. And so this is a skill that, this outreach to people is a skill that you might have to do, for a little bit before you become super comfortable with it. But again, really just take ownership of it, because it's something that is going to be able to help you in the long run. All right, so who should you contact? So here are some ideas of the types of people that you may want to reach out to beyond people that are on your immediate team. So of course, you're going to want to meet with people that you work with on a day-to-day basis, but thinking outside of your department and of your team is something that you'll want to consider. So peers first. So these are people that are at similar levels as you, that are across various departments. So these are going to be people that you might be collaborating with in the future. These are people that you might co-lead projects with, or people that you might be put on a team to help problem solve. So reaching out to people that are kind of on a similar level as you. And then you have your cross-functional partners. So these are people that work in different departments that might also touch what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, even if that's an indirect way. So these are relationships that are going to make your day-to-day work smoother and more enjoyable, especially if you can understand how the work that they do and what their department does, how that impacts what you're doing in your new role. And then culture carriers. So these are those people that maybe have some longevity in the organization, people that are well respected, that are connected with a lot of different people, and that embody the overall company's values, so that you can understand that culture and that you can navigate it a little bit more successfully. And then leaders you admire. So anybody that you admire, that you just want to talk to more and understand their path, even if that's somebody in the C-suite. So, shoot for the stars with this. And you're not meeting with them to ask them favors. You're really trying to understand how they think and what they prioritize and how they're successful as a leader. And you might be able to take something away from that conversation that can eventually help you. So how do you outreach to these people? Well, you want to be very concise and specific in what you're asking for. So again, I want you to not feel like you're bothering somebody. Really shift your mindset away from being bothersome. This is more about showing initiative. And again, most professionals really loved being asked about their work. People like to listen to themselves talk. So a 20 or 30-minute ask to have a coffee chat, or to meet to discuss what they do is really not a large ask. So be very specific about what you want from them when you do reach out to them. So here's an example of an outreach message that is short, warm, and specific. Hi, and then insert the name. I'm new to the company and I'm trying to learn more about how different units work together. My supervisor, Lori Brazili, told me about your team's approach to XYZ. Would you be open to a 20-minute chat this month? So the reason why this approach works is because it's low pressure. It's respectful of the person's time and it gives them a specific reason for the conversation and it's coming from a place of curiosity. So very easy way to reach out to somebody, for a quick chat. And so when you're in that chat, then what do those conversation starters look like? So here are some examples of questions that you may ask. Just to kind of help the conversation feel meaningful and natural. So, what does success look like on your team? What projects are you excited about right now? How does your team typically collaborate with others? What did you wish you had known when you first started here? And then, is there anyone else you think I should meet as I'm getting oriented? I think this last one is so important, and this is how you continue that kind of process and cycle of making connections because then what you can do is after you've had the meeting with this person and they've recommended that you meet with somebody else, then your outreach message can be, hey, this is who I am. I was meeting with XYZ person. They told me that you would be a good person to talk to as I'm, new to the company and I'm just trying to learn more and to learn more about, what some of the different departments do. So try to continue and always have like that type of question as part of your conversation when you're meeting people. And so I think sometimes the hard part is like, how do I maintain this relationship? I've had this one-off conversation. What do I do afterwards? A lot of times things just kind of drop off. So just kind of think of this again as like, a long-term game. It shouldn't be kind of a one-time coffee chat. It should be more of like a rhythm. So here are some ideas for maintaining that relationship. The first would be obviously sending a quick thank you note after the meeting and maybe anytime you do meet with that person if it's a reoccurring meeting. So I think that's always just a nice touch. Sharing an article or a resource that relates to something that you mentioned. I think this is a great way, especially if you haven't necessarily seen the person in a while, something that comes across your desk and then shooting it to them in an email and saying, hey, I saw this. It reminded me of what we were talking about when we went to coffee. Wanted to just share that with you. Oh, and by the way, I would love to grab coffee again. I have some additional questions about XYZ. Love to get your perspective on it. Would you have 30 minutes in the next, 3 weeks? So that can be another way to continue that kind of coffee chat cadence. Anytime that you read about a successful launch that they were a part of, or a promotion, or anything where maybe their name is coming up in conversation, or like if it's a formal announcement, sending them a kudos or congratulatory email is a really nice touch as well. And then just checking in on a quarterly basis and just saying, hey, since we last met, these are some of the things that I've been working on. Again, I would love to give your perspective on this as somebody that I feel like, can give a lot of insight that may help me. This could lead to another coffee chat. So these, again, are just like some ideas of small touch points that can help you with building that familiarity with that person. Okay, so we are going to also kind of pivot slightly and talk about ways that you can engage with our Charlotte alumni community, whether you are currently an alumni yourself or you are getting ready to graduate and will soon be part of our alumni community. So I think it's great that, especially at UNC Charlotte, that alumni want to help. They have been in your shoes before, and so they remember what it's like to be new in their field. And most alumni are happy to help, especially if it's, a quick conversation or just to offer advice. So researching alumni working at your company through affinity groups is a good first step. There's also a LinkedIn alumni search tool that I'm going to show you here in just a second, where you can find alumni that are either working at your company, or if you are not currently working, this would be a resource that you could use to find alumni that are working at organizations, but in roles that maybe you aspire to be, or you're just interested in learning more about. And then certainly, within your organization, there may be different types of groups that you can join. If there is a large alumni presence, there probably is some sort of alumni group or any sort of regional club or mentorship program, whether that's within your own organization or in the community. Those can be great ways to build, kind of have that built-in warm connection. And then I would certainly reach out to the alumni engagement office as well. There's lots of opportunities to get involved with other alumni, whether that's giving back to campus or serving on boards. So if you go to the alumni engagement website, which is alumni.charlotte.edu, there's lots of information there on how you can continue to engage with other alumni. And so I wouldn't forget about that office. So I do want to stop sharing my slide deck and just do a quick demo on how to connect with alumni through the alumni engagement tool on LinkedIn. So I'm going to do that here. Just give me 1 second. Hopefully you guys can see this. Okay. So I'm on LinkedIn right now, and what you'll want to do is go to UNC Charlotte's school page. So that's kind of the first step. So find our school page. And then there is the alumni tab right here. Okay, and so then we have this database that you can search. So if I wanted to find somebody that, let's say that I work for Duke Energy, and I want to see, what other alumni work for Duke Energy, or maybe I'm a student and I'm going to be starting at Duke Energy soon, and I want to see who are the alumni that work at Duke Energy. So I'm going to put that in as my keyword. And then what I'm going to see is just kind of a quick snapshot. So I can see based on this that it looks like we have just under 1,000 people that work at Duke Energy. So I can filter out by that. I can see where those people live. I can see what they do. So depending on what your job function is, you might want to do some filtering. I can see what they studied. So this is really useful if you want to see, like, if you studied mechanical engineering, you want to connect with other mechanical engineering majors that work at Duke Energy. And then these are their profiles. And so what you can do is you can look at those profiles and you can see what their path was, what they studied, all this stuff. And if it looks like somebody that you want to connect to, especially if y'all are working at the same organization, I would reach out to that person, add them to your LinkedIn network. And then once they accept your LinkedIn request, then you can direct message them. And that might be a way for you to connect. Or you could go back to the company, and if there's a directory or something like that, that would give you another way of maybe contacting them internally, outside of going this route, which is more of an external route. So there's a couple of different ways that I think that you could use this LinkedIn search tool for alumni, especially if you're trying to connect with other alumni at your organization. But large companies like a Duke Energy, like a Bank of America, Wells Fargo, TIAA, they're going to already have kind of built-in alumni networks within the company. But for smaller organizations that might not necessarily be as apparent, this can be a really great option for that. Okay, so we're going to get back to the slide deck. All right, just 1 second. All right. Okay, here we go. All right, so essentially what we've been talking about is your social capital. So your social capital, this is the value of your relationships. This is what grows when you show up, when you follow through, when you help others without necessarily feel like you're keeping score. So over time, people are going to begin to trust you. They're going to begin to think about you. They're going to begin to recommend you for opportunities. And so that's when your network really starts working for you. So again, this is definitely something that's long term. It's not going to necessarily happen overnight, but the more that you show up, the more that you put yourself out there, the faster, you're going to grow that social capital. So it's not just a one-time task, it's a lifelong habit. It's something that we all do. Even as career coaches, we do that in our space as well. So the good news is that you don't necessarily need to overhaul your life in order to become better at networking. Really tap into the networks that you already have at your disposal, especially within your first career, and just start with one outreach, maybe this week, one check-in, one conversation, one small step, and that's really how your network grows. So in closing, I wanted to mention how we can help you, both as students and as alumni. So you have access to many career development resources through the Career Center. And whether you're just getting started in your career, you're making a pivot, we're here to, kind of help you process that. We're here to support you. So you can certainly schedule an appointment with a career coach. We can meet with you one-on-one, whether that's virtually, in person, or over the phone. And if you don't have a time for an appointment, we offer drop-ins Monday through Friday from 10 to 3, also virtually and in person. So that you don't need an appointment for. Those are good for 10 to 15-minute conversations. Additionally, alumni have free access to career events, including career fairs, industry events, networking events, and our career meetup program. You can check out a list of all of our events on our website, which is career.charlotte.edu. We also have a very robust career guide that you can download, as well as many self-service tools that can support you no matter where you are in your career development journey. That includes Hire a Niner, which is our job posting system, Iris, which is our professional photo booth, which I will say is in person only. We also have our interview prep platform, which is Big Interview, our Pathway U career assessment platform, and then our Vault and Firsthand resource, which is great for conducting career and industry research. And this is how you can connect with us. Again, our website is career.charlotte.edu. We are on social media, so make sure that you follow us at Charlotte Career Center. And yeah, we'd love to connect with you. So make sure that you do that.